Knockout, der deutsche Wrestling Talk, präsentiert von moonsault.de. Mein Name ist Ingo Vollenberg. Ich heiße euch herzlich willkommen einmal mehr zu unserem wöchentlichen Raw Talk. Diesmal an meiner Seite nur zwei Herrschaften, und zwar zu meiner Rechten einmal mehr. Lucky Kid ist wieder da, spricht mit mir über Raw, über eine weitere Folge vom WWE. Und am Sonntag geht's dann zu Fastlane nach Cleveland, Ohio. Und wer wäre besser dann auch noch, um uns zu beehren, hier als Matt Cross from Cleveland, Ohio. He won't see the pay-per-view on Sunday, but he's here with us in Germany, and what a pleasant thing that is for us.
It's good to be here.
Thanks. Gut, liebe Zuschauer, also Matt wird ein bisschen mit uns quatschen, auch jemand, der eine Menge Worker von WWE kennt persönlich und selber dort natürlich auch schon war, bei Tough Enough, beim WWE Performance Center und vieles mehr. Und genau, deswegen sprechen wir mit ihm auf Englisch. Wir werden es für euch ein wenig übersetzen. Die meisten verstehen Englisch gut, so wie wir es in den Kommentaren gelesen haben. Also schreibt uns ruhig mal rein. Findet ihr es gut, wenn wir englischsprachige Gäste haben, das übersetzt wird? Oder hättet ihr lieber, dass wir auf Englisch mit ihnen sprechen und es nicht für euch übersetzen und einfach so stehen lassen? Wir richten uns da gerne nach euch.
Und wenn die Fragen haben, können die auch Fragen direkt zum Match stellen, oder?
Matt, Lucky suggested that our fans might ask some questions for you.
Sounds
If
great.
you might be back one day, then we can ask you some personal questions from the fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Okay, so if you have questions, liebe Fans, wenn ihr Fragen habt, just post it in the comments and post it on Facebook, and we're going to ask Matt about it, about Lucha Underground, about Matt Cross, his career, about backyard wrestling maybe,
Sure.
about M-Dog 20 and whatever. I mean, illustrious career for 15 years now?
15 years, yeah.
15 years in the making, yeah.
Maybe 13 too long. I don't know.
Genauso lange im Business wie ich selber nämlich, haben wir gestern rausgefunden. Ja?
Nicht schlecht, nicht schlecht.
Ja. Gut, we talk about Raw a little bit. Also, wir sprechen über Raw. Lucky, wie hat dir Raw gefallen diese Woche?
Ingo, ich habe keine Worte dafür. Ich habe einfach keine. Es war so, okay, ich habe es mir angeguckt, aber ich habe mich gequält, habe ich mich wieder mal. Es war total uninteressant. Es war gut, der Start war stark, das erste Match war gut. Kevin Owens wird Sieger, im neuen Intercontinental Champion. Jetzt ist die Frage, ob Dean Ambrose...
F5 Challenge, ja.
Ja, genau. Und ob Dean Ambrose jetzt wirklich das Triple Threat gewinnt oder nicht.
Ja. Das ist tatsächlich die Frage. Also, Main Event am Sonntag. Dean Ambrose gegen Roman Reigns gegen Brock Lesnar. Und unsere große Frage ist auch, könnte es denn sein, dass Dean Ambrose heel turnt? Ja, es wurde ja angeteased, er packt ihn sich, Dirty Deeds, hat es natürlich nicht durchgezogen. Ja, es ist natürlich auch der Wettbewerb, der betont wird,
Eben.
aber es wurde ja auch gesagt von Paul Heyman, man kann nicht Freunde und Familie gleichzeitig zufriedenstellen, man kann nicht das Geld nach Hause bringen und trotzdem noch mit allen gut befreundet sein.
So sieht's aus.
So sieht's aus, ja. Und mir ist aufgefallen, dass die Fans durchaus gejubelt haben, als er zugepackt hat.
Ja, also keine Ahnung, wieso die Fans da so ausgerastet sind. Ich meine, Dean Ambrose hat ja auch in einem Interview gesagt, dass ihm egal ist, wer jetzt am Sonntag da mit ihm im Ring steht. Er wird jeden besiegen, um bei WrestleMania gegen Triple H zu kämpfen. Und ich denke, das wird ein Heel-Turn.
Ja, okay. Matt, you saw Raw a little bit together with me.
Yep.
You saw Dean Ambrose. He was, a little bit attacking Roman Reigns, his buddy, and trying to get him into the dirty deeds. And the fans were cheering at the moment. I mean, you know Dean Ambrose? You know him personally, I think? Yeah?
Yeah, he's a fellow Ohio boy. Ohio.
What do you prefer? Him as a babyface, as a heel? What do you think suits him best?
Anything that gets him on the mic, right? I think that's where he stands out. Like, I think he's like a very electric personality. I think he stands out in the way he speaks. He's very different. He's always found a way of sticking out. So as long as I think he's one of their best assets in that way. So as long as they keep him speaking, I'm happy and keep using him. You know, he's like a unique guy and he worked hard to come up the ranks. So I appreciate anyone who kind of went that path and. It's crazy to see him in that like main event position, right? Heading into WrestleMania. I mean, again, he's like this not monster guy from Ohio, which is a smaller state. So he's had to work really hard to get where he's at. So that's just good for me to see that.
Could you imagine him being WWE World Heavyweight Champion?
why not? Anything's possible now. Yeah. I mean, maybe a year ago or 5 years ago, I would have said no. But now it's like in this new era that I think like CM Punk brought in, and then guys like Daniel Bryan and stuff, I think like anything's possible. So, I mean, if you can make the fans happy, like, you know, I'm all for it.
Ja, also er sagt, ganz kurz zusammengefasst, Dean Ambrose ist schön, einfach, er kommt auch aus Ohio und war jemand, der hart gearbeitet hat, um dahin zu kommen, wo er nun ist, und man kann sich alles vorstellen mit ihm, er kann sich auch vorstellen, ihn als Champion durchaus, und das ist natürlich schön für ihn zu sehen. Talking about Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, his retirement last week, what does it feel for you? I mean, he's a guy that you also knew for several years. Yeah, he's maybe a bit longer than you in the Indies, but yeah, not much longer.
All right.
What are your feelings towards that?
I mean, it's sad to see, right? We're all affected. I mean, anytime anyone has to stop doing what they love, it's sad. And for him, like, I can confidently say that he loved wrestling more than anyone. Like, I'll put my name on that. Like, I love wrestling. I eat, sleep, and breathe wrestling. It's my life. And he trumped me 10 times with how much he loved wrestling. Like, the wrestling love that we have in this room and on YouTube is like all combined equals like 1/4 of his love for wrestling. So he would have done it for no money, for no people, for no fame. Like, he just wanted to be in a ring. So to know that he can't, I mean, it's exciting to see what he'll go to next, but you know it affects him. You know it affects him. Like, he loved it. Just being in the ring, the pure sense of pro wrestling. So it's very sad to see, you know, that he won't be able to do that. On the other side, it's nice to see everything that he accomplished.
Yeah.
He, you know, for all intents and purposes, was never supposed to be in that position. So he could have loved wrestling as much as he did and done it in basketball gyms and for no one. So the fact that he got to do it and become a household name and main event WrestleMania and face Triple H and do all these things, at least he now has a legacy. So his love of wrestling will live on through these tapes and stuff. And I like that he addressed that in his speech, you know. Wrestling has given him so much. I mean, he has money now to fall back on. He met his wife through it. Yeah. It's like he's a very, very lucky guy.
Do you have an example for his wrestling love during the indie time? For example, Crazy Sexy Mike, last week we talked about Daniel Bryan, and he said he or maybe it was Ahmed, I don't even know if it was on the talk, also ich weiß gar nicht mehr genau, ob wir darüber beim Talk gesprochen haben, ob wir so darüber gesprochen haben. Das
war Ahmed, glaube ich.
Ja, das war Ahmed, das war nicht im Talk, aber deswegen erzähle ich es hier. An anecdote that Ahmed Cher told me was he was wrestling together with Daniel Bryan in Britain, and for Brian Dixon, for All-Star Wrestling, is it? Yeah. And I mean, everybody knows that it's not big money you make there, but you work a lot of shows. And Daniel Bryan was already a Ring of Honor champion. So Ahmed asked him, so why are you coming to Britain? Is the money good enough for you? And he was like, no, I'm doing it just because of the experience.
Yeah.
I just want to be in the ring so often.
And he was, I guess, like 6 months there.
Yeah.
Ahmed told us
yeah.
that, yeah.
So really long is really unusual. I don't know if you have any other examples.
Sure. Just a couple years ago, maybe 2010, give or take a year, we were doing a little tour, involved shows in Germany and then England as well. And I believe we wrestled in Germany, didn't get to sleep, stayed the night at the airport, and then flew directly to England. We got there early enough that we could catch some sleep before the show. We stayed at a kid's house, and then there was one bedroom with one bed, and I stayed up to eat, and he went into the bedroom. I, of course, assumed that he went in the bed. He had been Ring of Honor champion. He's in wrestling longer than I've been. I mean, every way you could slice the hierarchy, he was above me.
Yeah.
I mean, respect everything. So I go into the bed. He and one sheet were laying next to the bed on the floor. He had left me the bed. He had a main event match the night before. He had to wrestle that night. He's been wrestling longer. Again, like any way you slice it, he should have had the bed. I would have gladly taken, well, not gladly, but yeah. I would have known my place and willingly taken the floor as I would have, you know, expected to. And to go in the bed, and he didn't say he would, and he was already asleep, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, do I wake him up to like, this isn't right. It's not right. But that's the type of guy that he was. And that's not an isolated incident. He didn't say that in hopes that I tell a story of it someday.
Yeah.
And that's just one example of one day of how he was as a person. So it's so good to see someone accomplish what he did as a good, genuine person. Like, he wasn't stabbing people in the back to get where he got. And yeah, and that's just, I mean, there'd be Ring of Honor shows where he'd have these, like, crazy matches, and then everyone would go back to the hotel. Some guys party. He would read a book. Literally. and would have a book and be reading it. And it was like, wow, you know, wrestling has such a bad rap often. We hear all these like terrible stories, and a guy like him was just like a great example, a great, you know, ambassador for this activity. So it's sad to see him go in that respect too, because he was such a good role model for everyone.
Absolutely. But now he wants to have a family with his wife. Brie Bella we also saw on Raw. Also Brie war auch da, wird jetzt bei Fastlane um den Titel antreten gegen Charlotte.
Wahrscheinlich auch ihr letztes
Wahrscheinlich ihr letztes Match, kann sehr gut so sein. Lucky, bist du jetzt glücklich? Jetzt ist Nikki Bella verletzt, Brie Bella geht.
Ich bin jetzt nicht glücklich, dass sich Leute verletzen, weil ich genau selber weiß, wie es ist, wenn man verletzt ist und wenn man nicht in den Ring steigen kann. Aber jetzt ist Platz für Leute wie Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch,
Paige kam im Prinzip wieder zurück, hat ihr Match verloren. Hätte
gegen
man
Summer Rae vor allem.
Gegen Summer Rae. Wer
Was
hätte
war
das
da
gedacht?
los?
Was war da los? Ja.
Keine Ahnung, gute Frage. Ich weiß nicht, was sie sich da
Komisch, liebe Knockout-Zuschauer. Was war da los? Ja, wieso hat Paige ihr großes Match verloren? Gerade auf Europatour gewesen. Hier natürlich sehr beliebt, auch bei den Zuschauern. Also was war da los? Schreibt uns das mal in die Kommentare, was ihr davon haltet.
Keine Ahnung, ich kann es mir einfach nicht erklären.
Ja, ich fand es auch seltsam, auf jeden Fall, aber ja. Dann haben wir Kevin Owens, neuer IC-Champion, hast du auch kurz von gesprochen. Gute Sache?
Ja, ist eine gute Sache. Ich denke,
mischt die Karten natürlich ein bisschen mehr für den Ambrose.
Fastlane wird ist ja angesetzt, Dolph Ziggler gegen Kevin Owens. Ich denke, das gab es ja schon mal, aber ich denke, dass es ein sehr, sehr gutes Match wird.
Da müssen wir natürlich auch Matt mal befragen. Matt, now for Fastlane they announced Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship. You also know Dolph Ziggler, he's also from Ohio, right?
Another Ohio guy.
Another Ohio guy.
So
we
much
need
Ohio
to ask
guys.
you about all the Ohio guys.
Yeah, they're
what do you think about Dolph Ziggler?
I think he's one of, if not my favorite wrestlers. Like, he's so amazing. I don't think he has any weaknesses. I think he is like maybe the best guy ever to come out of the WWE system.
Yeah, right.
He did amateur wrestling before, so he had no like professional background. He didn't do indies. I mean, he went in there and said, "Teach me how to wrestle," and they did. And like, look what they spit out. I mean, he's such a phenomenal athlete. He speaks on the mic. He looks well. It's just, everything he does is awesome. He's exciting to watch. You know, he like bumps his ass off. And it's just really, really. You could tell he's like putting his heart and soul out there every time.
Yeah.
But I guess he don't get his chance to prove really what he can do in the WWE because he is a little bit like he's there, but he always loses his matches, so that's a little bit sad.
Do you know any reason why they don't give him a title opportunity and a big run, maybe as a champion?
No, I think what we had touched on earlier, I think it'll be interesting someday if he does a shoot interview and he has opinions why he thinks, or I mean, it'll be speculation on I have no idea. It's sad to see because he's so underutilized and like underappreciated. Don't know why. Maybe someday we'll find out, and hopefully he can overcome whatever that is. You know, I don't know what kind of demons or people dislike him or whatever it is, but I mean, obviously his work speaks for itself, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Ein weiteres Match, was wir gesehen haben, also ganz kurz auch nur zusammengefasst, sorry, jetzt bleiben wir schon in Englisch, also Matt weiß auch nicht genau, wieso Dolph Ziggler nicht mehr im Titelgeschehen drin ist, wieso sie ihm nicht mehr Möglichkeiten geben. Wir sind da auch ratlos, aber er fragt sich, ob Dolph vielleicht irgendwann nach seiner WWE-Karriere mal das Geheimnis lüften wird und da ein bisschen was drüber sagen wird, was er so denkt.
Kevin Owens bekommt es.
Kevin Owens. Yeah, and Kevin Owens is coming like years later, and now he's the IC champion already. He's winning so many things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, way more than Dolph. But AJ Styles, he fought against The Miz. Also AJ gegen The Miz haben wir gesehen in meiner Meinung nach einem sehr guten Match. Ich weiß nicht, wie du das siehst, Lucky.
Sehe ich auch so. Alles, was AJ berührt, ist halt gut. Kann man nichts machen.
Aber immerhin hat Miz die Zähne ausgeschlagen. Ja, also
das passiert.
Sieht WWE sicherlich nicht sehr gerne.
Nein, aber ich meine, es wirkt komplett anders, wenn AJ Styles im Ring ist. Ich finde, die Qualität von den Schlägen und so, das ist einfach viel härter, sieht einfach viel besser aus. es ist halt nicht so billig, würde ich einfach mal behaupten.
Ja.
Ja, das Match war gut und interessant wird's bei Fastlane, das dritte Match. Ob Chris Jericho das annimmt oder nicht, man weiß es nicht, wir erfahren es am Donnerstag.
Oder mein absolutes Traummatch, liebe Zuschauer. Dolph Ziggler besiegt Kevin Owens.
Und dann One-on-One mit
Und AJ besiegt Jericho und bei WrestleMania Dolph Ziggler gegen AJ.
Das wäre genial.
Das wäre eine große Sache.
Das wäre genial. Styles Clash ist auch anscheinend verboten. Macht er jetzt irgendwie nicht mehr?
Ja, ist vielleicht auch besser. So.
Ja.
Aber Calf Crusher heißt er, ne? Der Submission Finisher. Ja.
Der ist gar nicht mal schlecht.
Nee, finde ich auch nicht schlecht. Matt Lucky said, in his opinion, everything that AJ touches is, becomes gold. He likes him a lot. He says the punches, everything, it looks so good. Yeah, what are your thoughts about AJ Styles? You also worked him in the ring?
Yeah, and I think the first time I ever saw him was like on his TNA debut, whatever it was, like 11 years ago. And instantly I was just, you take notice. I mean, his style, he's so explosive and dynamic. He's like a next level, next generation athlete. I think he's like a peek into the future of wrestling just with his style. And everything he does, you can tell he brings it. And I've been in the ring with him, and he brings it. So you feel everything. It's very, very real and very awesome. And that translates. You see it, and you can tell. Like, this guy's not holding back with anything he does. Whether he's throwing himself to the ground, whether he's punching somebody, it's 100%. And I think, again, fans notice that and see it, and it's something that makes him stand out. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think it's been a long time coming for him to be, in this sort of environment where he can get this many eyes on him and his style. So,
what do you think about? It seems like the Styles Clash is now forbidden by WWE because he doesn't use it. He used it once against Chris Jericho, right?
Oh no.
I think against.
And who was his name?
Oh, he tried it.
Axel.
Yeah.
His name, Axel.
Curtis Axel. Yeah, he used it once against Curtis Axel. He tried to use it against Chris Jericho, but now he's doing this calf crusher, submission hold. What do you think about forbidding the Styles Clash? Good thing, bad thing?
I don't know. I mean, I think they can tease it because I think everybody knows it. I mean, it's hard to say.
I injured a lot of opponents with it, so.
Yeah, but I don't think. I think in every instance it was sort of that other person's fault.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever really his
But it seems
fault,
like it can happen quickly. I mean,
it can, and then the effects can be devastating and permanent. So sure. I mean, maybe if you want to take that safer route or whatever, I don't know what their thinking exactly is. But I did want to mention that the Miz, also from Ohio.
Miz is also from Ohio.
So many Ohio guys.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow, really? A lot of Ohio guys,
So Monday Night Raw is actually just Cleveland Night Raw.
So if they would bring you, they could do Ohio stable.
Yeah, you really could.
Yeah.
There's so many guys, it's insane.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you think about the match, The Miz versus AJ Styles?
I thought it was incredible, right? Yeah. Like, it was like pay-per-view quality.
Yeah,
like, it was... Like, I expected it to be good because I'm such a fan of AJ Styles.
Yeah.
But it was, like, really, really, really good. And it takes two to tango, right? You have to be in there with somebody else. So you can't entirely... Like, I want to be like, it was awesome because AJ Styles is awesome. But I have to say I was impressed by The Miz, because it takes two people to have a match. And that match was amazing. So And Styles is bringing it. And for guys from such different backgrounds. I mean, like, AJ Styles is like going to New Japan Pro Wrestling and, like, facing off against the best Japanese talent in the world in that style. And then The Miz is on a reality show wanting to be a wrestler. And, like, that's his background. Now, given he's been in WWE for many years, but, I mean, that should be, for lack of a better term, a real styles clash, right? and they worked really well together. So that was kind of cool to see because on paper, like, AJ Styles, top of his game, world traveled, amazing, versus reality star, maybe doesn't work, so good job to both those guys.
Sometimes good surprises. Genau, also Matt war auch beeindruckt von The Miz gegen AJ Styles, hat auch gesagt, The Miz kommt auch aus Ohio, also genau wie Dolph Ziggler, wie Dean Ambrose, da hätte man ein schönes Ohio-Stable auch. Ansonsten, wir müssen leider schon zum Ende kommen für diese Woche. Ich möchte jetzt Matt noch zum Abschied ein wenig kurz fragen, wie seine Europatour läuft. Matt, I just want to talk briefly with you about your European tour. Where have you been? Where are you going?
I spent the first week here in Germany.
Yeah.
Happy to be back. Worked with GWF. It was amazing. I find that European crowds are more appreciative than American crowds.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I don't know if American crowds just get so much good wrestling so often that no fault of their own, they become sort of jaded. And I find the fans here just more appreciative in general. Also, I think we don't have any sort of culture, tradition, history of like football hooliganism. And I think that hurts us in the wrestling sphere. I think that our best American chant is like, defense. Defense.
Really?
That's it. That's all we have. Yeah. So we don't bring much to the table. And then when I see these crowds like singing whole songs, it's like, in America, like no one could sing a song together, like maybe the Happy Birthday song. Like we don't all know one song, so
we need to teach the Americans how to sing.
And I think whenever you see WrestleMania, because there's so many people coming from other countries, when you see the Raw after WrestleMania, I think that's why it's always such a special environment, because you have like this European influence, and it's very noticeable. So I think that carries over into independent shows as well. So every show that I do overseas, it's just like a reward for me, like a special treat. So and it's nice just to interact with fans that you don't get to see as often. And so being in Germany was awesome. I spent the last week in Hungary, which was just unreal. Did 3 training seminars with HCW, and it was nice to see the future of Hungarian wrestling. They've just introduced the concept to that country, which is so new and cool for me. If you like wrestling and you live in Hungary, you had to like discover it. Like it's not like it's not on television. Okay. So you had to find it through these various weird means. And
not WWE on television, nothing at all.
No. Okay, so they all have these really crazy. Like every person has a unique, crazy story about how they were drawn to wrestling. And only in the past 5 years has HCW kind of risen up and they're introducing it to their country. So, I mean, for someone that's, again, I've been to 21 countries for over the past 15 years. So I have a very good understanding of wrestling, and I'm really in the trenches, so to speak. But even that was new for me. Yeah. Like I've never been anywhere where you're introducing the concept, and there was 700, 800 people there, and again, just rabid fans, just going crazy, and it was really enjoyable. Nice. And tomorrow I head to Barcelona for some training seminars there in Spain. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Last time I was in Spain was to do the Ultimate Warrior's return show.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
As part of a tour. So his last wrestling match ever, I was a part of that card, taking on Juventud Guerrera. So that'll be good to be back there. Yeah. Then from there I head to Scotland this Friday for SSW. Last time I was in Scotland, I faced Finn Balor. So that'll be nice to be back there and hopefully get in some good matches over there. And then my last week will be in Italy. So I haven't been there for 10 years, and last time I was there I wrestled Ultimo Dragon every night. Wow. So, yeah. So it's nice to revisit.
It's a hell of a ride again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if maybe we're trying to get you back on the show, and if the fans will ask some questions, I will tell it to you, and if you can be back on the show, we'll ask it live to you. If not, I will post some answers of yours online.
Sounds good.
Gut, ja, liebe Zuschauer, danke, dass ihr dabei seid. Also Matt sagt, seine Europatour lief total super. Er findet das deutsche Publikum, das europäische Publikum, weiß Wrestling sehr zu schätzen, und es ist immer ein großer Spaß, und gerade die Fangesänge hier gefallen ihm sehr gut. Dann hat er über Italien, über Ungarn gesprochen, Ungarn, wo Wrestling ganz neu ist, noch gar nicht im TV läuft und schon tolle Shows in Budapest gibt. Und ja, dann ansonsten war spannend. Er war auf der letzten Show, wo auch der Ultimate Warrior war in Spanien. Gut, wir sehen uns nächste Woche wieder. Ich wünsche euch einen schönen Abend, und ja, wir sehen uns dann natürlich nach Fastlane wieder, und dann wird die Road to WrestleMania so richtig heiß. Also bis nächste Woche, lasst euch gut gehen, auf Wiedersehen.